Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of 4, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham, and this is BK Brian Karch, my man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, man. It's been a minute, and we have just been in the thick of it, and I had somebody tell me, like, hey man, when are you getting a podcast out? And brothers, we're trying, right? We've got, oh man. I love this, by the way. I think we've talked about this. I've learned this about myself. Obviously, attention deficit. I hate saying the word disorder because I feel like I get more done than a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even like the PTSD, like let's label everybody with a disorder, or try to keep up. What you pick, you know? So that part of it, I've heard that mentioned as a superpower, and I just had lunch with Ty Ragsdale. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about that. It's just good. He's just a good dude, and I like touching base with him. I haven't talked to him in a while. But I like having too many irons in the fire. I like go. There's there's a country song out called Perfect Man. It says something like, I know I show up with half a plan. I know I do this stuff, but somehow motivating, keeping people going for 13 years in this business. We got some big stuff coming up, and I know I'm the guy that kind of talks about that stuff to prove the point, and then it doesn't work out, but you just got to keep pushing. Mm-hmm. So I've gone to do I mention it? Do I not mention it? But it does motivate. I know some people are like, well, this ain't happening. I'm like, it's wait longer. That's just the deal. If it was my pick, it would have happened already. But amazing things coming down the pipe. I think I told you, I briefed you up a little bit about my Friday trip to Texas.
Yes.
Don't know that it could have gone better. I don't know that it could have gone better. And when you have a hunch, when God leads you to something and you have a hunch, and it's a hunch, well, you can't, people are like, oh, I'm not invested in a hunch. And I get it, nor would I really, unless I was really called to, by the Holy Spirit. So I guess I went down there maybe thinking, what if? And at some point I'm like, I know what we've done, and I'm not going to go down there and sell anything. I'm going to present an opportunity, and only if it's the right opportunity. So I'm not selling, I'm buying. I'm buying into a relationship, and only if it's the right one. And it was so well received that I'm really excited about it. And to be honest, it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
I was just honest.
Yeah.
And they're like, where do we sign? Like that, get us some stuff and let's go do this. Because what I'm seeing is that we were right, and the thing that we've put together and created through binders and curriculum and all of this stuff, through everything I've learned, there's a way that the tactical industry is going, and I've just never gone that way. I've seen pieces from my lineage, meaning the SEAL teams, meaning CQD with Dwayne Dieter, meaning GRS, meaning overseas, meaning all of this stuff, and even all the new Facebook stuff and the YouTube stuff that turns my stomach. Some of it's good, some of it's garbage. And I'm like, I don't have time to look at garbage. I just don't, right? And the good stuff, I'm like, I can take that and learn. But when you mash it all together and you say, what's going to help churches protect kids? What's going to help schools? What's going to help people defend their homes? That becomes very, very cool. And even now, this building we got our sights set on again, it's not perfect. There's a challenge, but now you get creative. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, if we did this, and outside we put this, and blah, blah, blah. And there's the shoot house, and I see it. And then I go walk it with Dave Foley. Thanks for your patience, brother. He's awesome. For years and years, he's just taken us to see commercial properties. And I'm like, this would work, man. This would work. I know it's overpriced. I know it's this, I know it's that, but let's negotiate the price and get cracking on our due diligence. And if and when this goes, with or without it, we're going. It's just going to be in Texas, right? With or without it, we're going to do 5 more in Texas. With or without it, we've still proven a thing. But man, it'd be great to have a home you know what I mean? That we own and have everybody under one roof. That maybe close. So pray about that. So Lord willing. We'll get that ball rolling. Yeah. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, the world is losing its mind, right? So man, you can't make this up. And it's like the crazy world is marketing for us. And I would say this, and write this down, when people lose their mind, when people go crazy, don't go with them. Just don't go with them, right? Somebody's got to look up and say like, well, there's another option. He doesn't seem to be crazy. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll do what he's doing, And even today we were talking about this in my class, and I had to remind them because I said that, and then they were like, well, what about, I'm like, again, when people go crazy, don't go with them.
Don't follow them.
Right? I get it. They can say you have to do this. It doesn't mean you have to do it. They can ask you questions. They can tell you what to do. They can do all that stuff. but the decision's up to you. Well, they're not making you anything, right? So that's the point where you say, well, what brings us to this? I believe that I'm going to call this one Orwell. And I asked you this before. I think at some point I was forced to read it in high school, maybe middle school. And did you?
I had to, yeah.
Yeah.
1984.
You think you said it was 1984 when
In
you
the
read
year 1984, yeah.
So, Animal Farm in 1984. So I've heard people refer. Again, when they make you read it, that's probably the reason I didn't read it. I believe I did because there were things that were familiar. It's been so long. At 52, it's been a minute, right? So it was familiar as if I'd read it, kind of with like ticked off because my teacher made me, but things were familiar. 1984, I don't believe I've read it ever, right? So going into that one, I'm like, I would remember this. Maybe it was an assignment, but that's just enough reason for me to blow it off. Yeah. I was not a good student. So, but right now at 52, I had been hearing about it for a little bit. So, I mean, hearing people reference it lately. So I'm like, I'm gonna spend some time, and I had a trip to Tennessee, so to go pick up a dirt bike. Over after Christmas, we were in Kansas City. I went and linked up with my brother-in-law and my nephew, picked up a dirt bike and plenty of windshield time. And it's kind of good.
Audiobook kind of?
Audiobook, driving down the road. That's my place, man. Ty just told me this. There was a dude that figured out that his frequency for writing, have you heard this, was flying. So all he did is book flight after the cheapest flights he could find, and he stayed in the air and wrote books.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting that you say that, because the amount of brain power that I can like get cranking when I'm driving. We considered this years ago. We don't have any money, but at one point we're like considering buying a little car so I could just drive to Kansas like daily. Like I need to sort this stuff out. Somehow if I'm doing one thing and then I add on another, all of a sudden I'm okay. I'm like, I can't focus here unless I'm driving, unless I'm waiting for a plane, unless I'm on an airplane, because I'm doing something already. I'm traveling.
Yeah.
Now I can kind of relax and focus on this. I like swimming, but you can't take notes. So like, the part of the attention deficit, you'll swim. I'll swim for an hour and have probably 5 multi-million-dollar ideas. Can't remember any of them.
And that microphone doesn't work too
right.
underwater.
I love, and even if, another brother of mine, Steve Klein, love you, brother. He's like, they make earphones. I'm like, yeah, I go for, this is my happy place, man. I don't want anything. I just want to go and I want to talk to God. I want to listen to God, and I want to swim. Right? Sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. But that's where I would go, so I don't want anything interrupting it. But one of the downfalls is that you can't take notes, and nor do I want to stop. So anyways, finding that frequency and then hitting those parts of your brain, I think is very, very important. So I'm driving, I'm listening to these, and they're just so good, I don't want to stop. It's so good, because now you got to actually slow down. I'm probably going to listen to them again all the way through, because it'll fire off a line of thought, you'll miss half of it. And you're like, what was he saying? That kind of thing. Because it's so right now. So I want to just crack into those. We'll just kind of talk about synopsis and go over some of the points that jumped out at me, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. So George Orwell, this is back in the 40s, wrote, I think it was Animal Farm back then, and after that, I believe. And if you're like a, what would that be? A historian, I guess, or if you know this stuff and you go, feel free to correct me. Just put those messages in there. We'll file it in the file cabinet here. But I'm doing it from memory after it's been weeks now. But I might get some stuff wrong, so just show me some grace. But it was very, very eye opening and kind of launched. I found a new gear.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're not familiar with it, story is an allegory. I get some highlights here for the Russian Revolution and the rise of Stalinism. But instead, in this, it's almost a cartoon type setting where there's a farm and there's a farmer and he's running it, and the animals they revolt, and they're like, hey man, what's up with this? And humans think they're so much better than us, and they revolt. So now there's this war. I think it's called the Battle of the Cowshed. That's what brought the whole thing together. So they're talking. You can hear a lot of this stuff. He comes out, they attack, and then he the animals have gone crazy, so he goes and gets a bunch of people. They come back, and that's where that Battle of the Cowshed is, to where they're just like, we're taking over the farm. Yeah. Right? They start animalism. So not communism, not socialism, animalism, and they say we could do better, right? So people are horrible. The animals on a manor farm overthrow their human owner, Mr. Jones. Take control of the farm, inspired by the old major's vision of equality. So there's some pigs, There's a horse. There's all these different characters, but the pigs are better readers. They're more intellectual. They remember better, and they're manipulators, right? So that's important. That what they do is they say that we can basically do better at this. And the pigs, led by Napoleon, his name is Napoleon, and Snowball. So Snowball's the first one that's kind of in charge. They take charge of the farm after the revolution, and if memory serves, Snowball is the one that's kind of recognized for his heroic works during that battle. He takes one in the back, I think it's buckshot, gets wounded, runs off squealing, all this other stuff. But it was honorable, so they honor him and they say, hey, we all remember what you did, so they give him medal. So they give him some kind of honor for heroism because he fought and kind of like came through the other side and was tested. So here's where it kind of gets interesting is as they get more comfortable, see where this is going from our previous conversations, as they get more comfortable, they start relaxing their standards. So they kind of write down, they scratch in the floor these 7 commandments, kind of 7, this is our constitution, right? Because everything, they all suck so bad, like here's the deal, we're gonna do this so we don't end up like them. And as they start infighting, at some point Napoleon wants to be in charge, and then here comes this, if I can control what you remember, if I can control the past, if I can, then I can dictate the future. So it said something like this. Surely Snowball wasn't a hero, right? He was actually a coward. And if you remember back, he ran for his life. And they're like, no, remember we gave him an award. And they're like, no, that wasn't an award. We didn't give him an award. He was a coward. He ran off. Napoleon, like my guy was the hero, and we clearly remember that he was in front and he actually bit the farmer's leg. And they're like, I don't remember that. It's like, wait a minute, now you're saying that. There's something familiar about that, but I can't quite remember. I'm a little hazy. They're like, we were very clearly. Well, if you clearly remember and I'm hazy, then you're probably right. And this is kind of a theme that starts growing, and you can see how it's going. You can pretty much convince anybody of anything if you can't record it, if you don't have a memory of it, or if you don't have the really the balls to say, this is what I know, this is what I remember, this is who I am, this is whose I am, stop talking to me, you know what I mean? But it's not that, it's more of this group thing. So, some of the, there's powerful quotes in here, the famous phrase, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others, and some of these are just ingenious that it was written so long ago. And now when you see what's going on with trans, with woke, with this, like these rules don't even apply to you. These are our rules. They don't apply to you. And by the way, this has always been the way. And you're like, this is not true. This has not been the way, right? So the novel ends with the animals unable to distinguish between. So now as it grows and grows, well, let me jump down here for a second with the actual bullet points from, where is it? I thought I had it. Did I? 1 second. Oh, it's on the phone. The things that they inscribed on the floor, like here was their commandments, and I'm not going to get, I don't know if I'll touch on all of these, but whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy, right? But as they start getting more power, the pigs only start walking on 2 legs. It's just more dignified. They're walking up, they're thinking more, using more brain power than the people that are actually working. So everybody's working and slaving and putting in like all this, and the best food, the best of everything, even though everybody's equal, are going towards the pigs. Because they're kind of like, man, I'm kind of keeping you free. I'm not thinking, like, because I'm a little more equal than you, right? So I deserve better food. Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. So, there's a saying in here like, 2 legs bad, 4 legs good, right? No animal shall wear clothes. And obviously, as they get more power, they start wearing clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. Now, this is one that sticks out in my mind because it was like, then they realized like beds are kind of comfortable. And we got to do all this planning to make sure that we're running the farm right. So we're going to go work in there, and then they start sleeping in the beds, right? So you're living in the house, we're living in the barn, but now you're sleeping in beds. So they go back to look at it. Remember, they don't read well. So they said, what do the rules say? Because there was something about beds. So when they go back and look at it, it says, no animal shall sleep in a bed, and scratched right here is with sheets.
Oh.
And it's like,
what?
I don't remember that being there. Like, it's always been there. Well, I don't remember. It's like, well, you're probably wrong. Because remember, you kind of don't remember stuff well. And we clearly remember, because sheets are a luxury. I mean, everybody's got to sleep. Where else are you going to sleep? So there's a bed.
My goodness.
So it's just this It's really cool. It's really, it's a cartoony, kind of catchy. No animal shall drink alcohol. But then, and all of a sudden you see this politician, pig, and he's running around naked around the yard with a lampshade on his head. Not really, but that's basically the thing. I'm like, what's up with him? Because we were hearing this stuff and smelling the corn, making the whiskey, whatever, and now he's just running around. And then it was weird because he slept in the next day because he's under the weather, and they're just insinuating all this stuff. No animal shall kill another animal. And then it comes to the point where they execute another animal for not agreeing with them. And then, so they go check the Constitution. They go check the commandments. They go check what's scratched on the floor, and it says without reason. You can't kill another animal without cause. And it's like, well, obviously there was a cause because he was bad. So now, and then all animals are equal, and then obviously, some are more equal. So you see this thing play out, and as I remember it, now they're actually negotiating for pay the sale of the farm with humans. And the book ends by, they're all looking in there, watching in on this meeting, and it said, at one point, as they were discussing, it was hard to tell which was which.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's so what does that mean? Immediately what came to my mind was about the, they showed the horse, and his name's, I never forget it, but just that hard worker, and it's like, well, it must be my fault. If this isn't working, it's probably because I'm not working hard enough. So some people just double down and just go. I think there is very much a shortfall in importance in politics, which means the policies that govern our lives. It's not, no, that's political, don't talk about it. No, we must talk about politics. Like I said, this is political. This is a policy that governs my life, right? Whether girls go in boys' bathrooms and vice versa is a policy that governs our lives. Whether boys are competing in girls' sports, killing them in a boxing ring because they're far superior in strength and size is a policy that governs our life, right? So we can't set out politics. It's very, very important. But also being educated. Also being educated and understanding. Also having courage and knowing who you are and whose you are and having the courage to say it out loud and to live it regardless of who's looking, right? So that's a big, big deal. And back from that, surely he wasn't a hero, Charlie Kirk, right? Because now you're hearing this garbage, and surely he wasn't a hero. Sure, like he couldn't have been. He was actually an anti-Semite. He was actually a racist. Maybe you don't remember it. I remember it just fine. And if you start repeating lies, you're part of the problem. Period. Right? So that one just grabbed at a good time, which led to the next book of Orwell's 1984. Now, you said you haven't. Are you familiar with it, or? I mean, you see like Big Brother.
There's a chance. I read it, but it could have been the Cliff's Notes.
Yeah.
The little yellow book that they used to make.
Yeah, that's the one where you were running around a lampshade on your. Yes. Oh, I forgot the quotes from Animal Farm. Some of them, we said that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, which changes obviously. The only good human is a dead one. All men are enemies, all animals are comrades. Napoleon is always right. So there's certain themes in there where you hear it over and over again, and you start seeing those today. Yep. Even that direction of maybe you don't remember right. It's like being manipulated time after time after time. So George Orwell's 1984 is a little bit different. Winston, what's his name? Winston Smith is working. He's living in Oceania. Is the society that he's living in, ruled by the party led by Big Brother. So Big Brother's always watching. You always hear the Big Brother's always watching. There's the posters. And this one is kind of creepy because almost like, do you remember Demolition Man? Oh, yeah. With all the cameras? They call them telescreens. And remember, this is like, I think this one was 40s too. I can't remember. Yeah. But it's like way, way back about a TV you're watching, but also watches you. So there's telescreens everywhere. So anything you do outside of you might have a little bit of leeway if you can have a conversation outside of a telescreen, but everything's watching and everything's graded and everything is monitored. The language is getting smaller because they're restricting the words you can use. Oh, so like the vocabulary is actually getting smaller and they're actually like rewriting the past. So the story's led to a dystopian future where the world is divided into 3 totalitarian superstates. The party exercises total control over every aspect of life, including thoughts, through constant surveillance and propaganda. Winston works at the Ministry of Truth, where his job is to alter historical records to fit the party's narrative. Okay, yeah, altering the party's narratives. Like weird, right? Destroying hard drives, whatever. Winston becomes disillusioned with the party and begins a secret affair with Julia, a fellow party member. So all of a sudden there's a love interest, And it touches into, and I'm not going too deep into this, but it touches in sexual desire, killing that attraction and appreciating beauty enough to where he's actually starting to despise this woman because she's so beautiful and the way he's feeling and all that stuff. And we could talk all day about that. But right now, as we're being kind of formed up to be cogs in a wheel, like I see it as clear as day. I'm very blessed to have my kids in a school where they actually promote, open thought, discussion.
Debate,
All of this is the Socratic method of discussion, and all of this stuff is making them free thinkers, right? And this is exactly the opposite. So they are the problem. They are not the future, because what we need is soldiers that do what they're told, right? And then if not, that would be punished. So it's rich with that. The novel explores themes of surveillance, truth, freedom, and the power of language. Thought of this today when I was thinking about Iran. So Iran, wow, like they're I didn't know this. I just popped my head up. I was busy. Usually I'll get like a 15-minute hit of truth. I want enough to not fall behind, but not so much where I'm ticked off. Yeah. And that's usually Daily Wire's Morning Wire program. Guys get in arguments and they get sarcastic, and then they're just kind of smart alecks, and some of them I can stand more than others. But on the Morning Wire, it's I need data. I need to know what's going on. And I didn't realize that by like tens of thousands of Iranians are getting mowed down for protesting. I didn't know that, right? Yeah. So they're like, hey, this regime, it's not working out for us, man. This is almost a failed state. They've got water problems, food problems, money problems, power problems. Like everything is collapsing. And if you say it out loud, we'll kill you, like machine gun you. Starlink played into this, and now they're outlawing these dishes, destroying them and killing people for trying to get news from the outside. Wow. So it's like, whoa, it's just, here we go, right? So this is like all of this, an excellent time, and I'm obviously recommending these books that you dig into these. And there is a part of this where love plays into it, to where you see, and it's not a Christian book by any means, and Christians, mark my words, because it makes me crazy when I hear this, well, like that guy wasn't a Christian, I was a Christian. You can still learn from it. Like, eat the meat, spit out the bones. And if there's garbage in there, don't accept it. If you're worried about losing your faith by reading this, don't read it. Right? It's like that's what I tell people. Like, it's like, okay, well, if you're that on the edge, razor's edge of where you're going to go, maybe avoid the book. Yeah. And if you're actually a healthy human being that believes in your faith and says, I can learn from things I disagree with, then I highly recommend it. So ultimately, once he's captured by the thought police, and this is where it gets, when I'm reading it, and we can do a book report and be a spoiler because it's many years old, tortured, brainwashed until he fully accepts Big Brother's authority. At the end of the book, I'm really holding out for the guy. And I'm like, he's just been through it. He's things inside him, and I would call that the Holy Spirit. Something's driving him where he just can't accept. That's something about me. It'd be way easier if I didn't, actually. I mean, if I didn't stand my ground, if I didn't have integrity, this would be way, way easier. I simply can't. Yeah. And I don't know why. I remember that and I'm going to mix these up. We've been at war for years with Eurasia. And then they come out and say, no, it's East Asia. And you're like, brother, I'm telling you, it's Eurasia. And he's like, no, it's East Asia. They've always been the problem. Like, we've been saying this for years. I've been saying it. You've been teaching us that they're the big problem. And now you're saying it's East Asia? They're like, it's always been East Asia. So now he's like, so they're asking him to start to torture him, and he's just holding. And he's holding, and he's holding. And they catch him with the girl, and they do all the thing, but this is illegal and all this stuff. So now it's his own physical well-being. And one thing that really caught me was it gets to a point where he's emaciated, he's been tortured, his malnutrition, his hair's falling out in clumps. The dude reaches up and pulls one of his last 4 teeth out. And he's just, look at you, you're a freaking mess. But then the guy looks at him and he goes, you were the last man in England. And he's like crying, like, what? And you're thinking, maybe this was a test. Maybe he's gonna lead a revolution. Maybe he's gonna do whatever. But then he breaks, and you're like, it's a tragic book. But what an honor to be called the last man in England. Like, man, we've been trying it, and you've got integrity that we can't even measure. You've made it longer than anybody. You are the last man in America. Can you imagine, right? So that part of it really stuck with me enough to where later I was doing some research, and I just typed in last man in England. And that was actually the original title of the book. And I'm like, wow. Okay. But then it turned into 1984 at some point. And I was like, what an amazing honor to be that. What if you were, biblically, if there were 10 good men, I'd save this place. If there were 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, is there anybody? It's like, what do you mean no? Like, what are you talking about? So that really gripped some of the quotes in the book. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. These are just slogans from Big Brother, right? They're just
bumper stickers.
And that's the thing. If you say things enough, people will start repeating them, and then they'll start believing them,
Yep.
right? There's a book out there that we talked about years ago. We pushed it. We gave a bunch of them away, called "Live Not by Lies." And one of the main takeaways that you need to burn into your head: your lies don't live in me. Your lies don't live in me. Like, do not repeat lies, because if you do it enough, you'll start believing them. But repeat the truth a lot. Say true words a lot, right? Big Brother is watching you. When people feel like they're being watched, when they're feeling inferior, they're easy to manipulate and control, right? Especially if you're planning on harming them or threatening to harm them. In the face of pain, there are no heroes. One of the things was talking about when they're torturing is like everybody breaks. Everybody breaks. And it's like, okay. And some of this is graphic. Like if I would have read this, I'd have remembered it. At one point when he finally breaks, they're like going to put a box on his head and like close it and then open a thing and rats come out and eat your eyes out. That sucks, right? I mean, I don't know what I do there. I mean, it's like you can get, and that's one thing that torture proves, get anybody to say anything, but it didn't mean you believed it. You can't make me disavow my faith. You can make me say it, maybe. I mean, rats are eating my eyes, I might say it. I hope not. Everybody's a tough guy, until your eyeballs are eaten out. You got a rat eating inside your head, then you might rethink it. I don't know. But I would like to believe that I would stand by my faith in my heart. But perhaps if you tortured my kids and their eyes were getting eaten out, I might say something about God. I don't know. And I've been through some stuff. I'm being honest, I just don't know. But you can't get me to stop believing in Christ, right? And he would know that. If you want to picture the future, this is great, and this one's been said for the years, right? And this is Orwell, and he repeated this in an interview I watched. If you want to picture the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face.
Ooh.
Forever.
Ooh.
And he's like, that's what people are. And I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Without serving something bigger than you, everything in us, that sin nature, leads to. If you want one picture of our future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. And that's where I think, with praying for Jordan Peterson, he's in a bad way. He's fighting for his life again. Hopefully we get an update pretty soon. He already had a compromised immune system and whatever it was. And then he got, as I understand it, was cleaning out his dad's house that passed away. Black mold kind of situation aggravated it, so he's down hard. But I do think that guy's a gift to this planet, to the world. And perhaps this is the thing he faces that gets him to take that last step. Because he's right there, man. He's right there. And I truly believe he has the heart of like the C.S. Lewis of our time. Mm-hmm. He's got one more step to take, right? And everybody's like, hey, you're a Christian, all that stuff. He's so literal. For him to say it, he would take the step and to the best of his ability, I believe, model it in his own life, and I think a lot of people would follow. The most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their understanding of their own history. So there was the thought police. There is like they would review things that didn't fit the agenda and put it. And there was something called the something hole. I forget, but the memory hole. This is gone. Trash this because this could be used against us. And if you keep erasing history, if you don't study your own history, you're doomed to repeating. That's a big deal.
It's interesting how applicable this is right now. Just pick cancel culture.
Yes,
It's a thing.
Yeah.
People disappear. Conversations disappear. History's being rewritten. Statues coming down.
Yes. The statues thing. Like, it's like, well, we want to rewrite that according to today's standard.
Yeah.
Right? It's like not like any of the woke people pulling on those chains could make it a night on a ship, could make it, in a farm in the winter, just whatever. It's like that thing from the comfort of your sleep number bed. You're going to try to judge people that carved this nation out of the wilderness, right? Yeah. And it's insane. Freedom is the freedom. This is big. Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. If that is granted, all else follows. And that sounds silly, but in the book, it was amazing how they used that as, and we've heard this recently. Have you heard this recently about the 2 + 2 or 1 and 1 doesn't have to be 2? This is a thing, and I wish I'd have pulled it up, but this is recent. And I heard it, but I didn't attribute it to this because I didn't really know to, right? And then I saw it, and they were like, is 2 + 2 4? And like, does it have to be? Like, says who? Why couldn't it be 5? And you're like, okay, this is stupid.
No.
And that's the thing, when I talk about this stuff to family and friends, I say, don't try to make sense out of nonsense.
Yeah.
Just call it nonsense and move on, and then go model truth. But this just recently came up where they were like, it doesn't have to be, and it's actually offensive that you would say that it has to be. And you're like,
because it is.
again, you do the Control-Alt-Delete, like, okay. An adult needs to walk in the room and say, okay, this is stupid. This isn't going to happen. Well, the Supreme Court, have you followed this at all?
Yeah.
Like, am I dumber having watched that? Like, I'm like, what is going on right now? You're a justice? What do you mean you don't have a definition of a boy or a girl or a man or woman? And then it's asked, well, then how do we move forward here? We're not prepared with the definition of what a boy or a girl is. We just know if either one of them is wrong, then we have to do some stuff. And it's like, well, you can't even define it. And this is a silly game, and I'm not playing. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting how this fleshes out. So one of the things that I say, and I'll get to this in a second, but remind me about 2 plus 2. We shall meet in a place where there is no darkness. It's that one I'm going to save for like when you read it and check it out, listen to it, whatever. It's a sad story. It's a warning. It's prophetic.
Okay.
It's all of those, right? Not prophetic in Jesus' book, whatever, but it's just very telling as far as foreshadowing for a bleak future. So that last man in England, we talked about this in one of my men's groups, talking about aspiring to be that last man in America, the last man in England, the last man in your neighborhood, the last person that says, no, it's not that I don't understand what you're saying, I disagree, right? Then there's going to be repercussions and you're not going to be popular, right? Most recently, addressing things in the home where it's the man's job to do, like dress code, right? There's certain things that I don't think young ladies should be wearing as long as they've got a dad to tell them what's right and wrong, right? Not lording it over them, not demanding, just saying, here's the deal. It's actually my job, right? And I love you. Doing it in a loving way that as even the role of man and woman, husband and wife starts changing, somebody has to say, but we believe in a thing, don't you remember? And then lead that way, right? Even though it's not popular and you might have to pay short-term prices for long-term gains, right? And that's okay because I'm in this for the long game anyways. Yeah. Well, not everybody, many people are like, hey, brother, can I talk to you? And I'm like, no. Or yes, like the conversation late last night, I was at a buddy's house. Thanks, Shay, I appreciate that, man, because it's just a guy who loves you enough to tell you the truth, and we sit and talk. And real talk. It wasn't like I'll massage your ego or your pride or you're a Navy SEAL. It's, brother, I've been there. Let's chat. Cool. I appreciate that, right? I cherish it, actually. So there are people. So I got tons of people that'll tell me what I want to hear, but I cherish the people that tell me what I need to hear when I don't want to. Yeah. Right? Because that's how you get better. That's how you make progress. Which brings us to the cold plunge, right?
Did you want to finish up the 2 plus 2, or are you going to?
This is it. This is it. So no, thank you. So some of the things. This is a proven deal. This is a proven deal. This isn't me making it up. If you don't believe Jimmy Graham, you know who you will believe? Hawkeye off MASH.
Hawkeye.
You remember MASH? Was it Hawkeye the main guy? Is that right? Am I messing that up?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's right. Maybe. So the dude from MASH, when I was going through a psychology class in college, right? And this is like, where was this? Was it Liberty? Liberty University. I'm studying this class. I'm probably in Lebanon, and I'm watching it, and I'm writing papers and all this stuff. But he was just the dude that did the commentary and interviewed scientists. Okay. And what they proved was that when you're scared or in pain, you learn on a different level, right? And I know I've said this before on social media, but if you are in pain, meaning they tested people with memory games with all these tests. And they said, do it again, but put your arm in a bucket of ice water, this big old trough of ice water. And they're like this, and everything, all the alarms lit up, all the lights lit up, and they remembered. And they did all this stuff, and it was notable, right? And they attribute that to kind of like the fight or flight. You're getting chased by a grizzly bear, right? And you're scared, and everything you do is recorded at a level to where if this works, write this down because this is how you escape a grizzly bear. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's you're designed that way. You're created that way. But tapping into that, it's almost like, and we've talked about this, people are walking around kind of mesmerized, kind of hypnotized, and they're just doing what they're told, almost like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, short round, my favorite, right? Because it's exactly what I looked like when I was younger. It's like, And I would put blocks on my, if I thought I could drive a car. But when he was hypnotized and he was like getting ready to sacrifice me, and he burned his chest and he came out of it. Remember that?
Yeah,
He's like, "Psst," and he's like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm hurting people, right? So he burns him and hurts him and gets him out of that, right? So this is what came to mind, is from that, we derived a thing where it was a cold plunge. And if you've done a cold plunge, it hurts. It ain't gonna kill you, but it's gonna feel like it for the first couple minutes, right? And it takes everything you got when you first start doing it to stay in that water, because alarms are going off and it's like, get out of here, you're gonna die. And that's all good stuff. But I truly believe it unlocks a thing. Yeah. One, it makes you the person, you don't have to, nobody's holding you underwater, maybe. But we didn't. We did this, but we did it as a baptism where you stayed in. We challenged people for like 2 minutes to stay in. And then when they were kind of ready to get out, we would baptize them, dunk them, and then they could get out. And I'm telling you, there were tears, there were hugs. Darren Smith about broke my back. He's built like this. He almost like cracked my back, but it was real. It was so good because while they were in that water, I was dang near screaming. Truth is about the Bible, about what the Bible says they are. Who are you in God's eyes? You are chosen. You are a saint. You are a holy nation. You are all of these things while they're in that state, and it was crazy. We had music playing. It's outside. You can see the Rocky Mountains. We're dead smack in the middle of them at this beautiful property, and we're rolling through and doing this with each other, right? Okay, so what does this mean? Currently, when I wake up, somebody asked me this the other night. I posted some silly thing with me doing strikes. Did you see that? It's as fast as I can to get my heart rate up for 30 seconds. And it's ugly, it's nasty, your arms don't work, you're like longer, you're doing short strokes and you're just gurring at it. 30 seconds is an eternity, but what I'm doing is getting my heart rate up early in the morning, and you should command your body to move quickly. Like I'm not bragging about this, but I punched people kind of a lot when I was a younger idiot. And I was very fast. And I would work on my form and all that stuff, and it just worked out. But we meet people that have never really extended their arm ever. It's not going to do well if you ever get in a situation. So I think it's something to revisit, and it gets my heart rate up, because when you get out of bed, the last thing you want to do is get cold. So I'll get my heart rate up, be huffing and puffing in just 30 seconds. I'll crank my morning news after. I always go, knees on the floor. So get up. Okay, I'll hit the snooze, nope, knees on the floor. Get up, I pray, get my books, go do my thing, quiet time, read the Bible, 15 minutes minimum. And this isn't every day. It's either this, or all the above, right? So I don't want it to be legalistic in this ritual thing that I just don't really think about. I commit to it. Then I get up, and when it's time to take a shower, I'll crank on that morning wire, get my intel, not fall behind on what's going on in the world, and I will get my heart rate up, get in the shower, take a shower, and then the last 30 seconds, I crank it as cold as I possibly get, right? And say what? 2 + 2 is 4, right? No God, no sovereign but God, no king but Jesus Christ. Battle cry, from our forefathers in our lineage. These truths. There was another one that I just saw that I was going to start doing. I forget which one it was. I'll find it. But there's certain things that are truths that you need to say enough and get them in there in the way, the truth, and the life. There's Bible verses that come to mind, but I just sit there and I don't move. It's just, here's the deal. And it's ice cold, and when you're done, you feel like $1 million and you go start your day. Especially on the days when I'm fasting, right, like today. So when you spend time with God throughout the day, it's just different. And data says, these studies from trusted people, like Charlie Kirk, like these, I've heard this, 4 days. So you tipped a scale, 7 days a week, you go over 3.5, 4 days. There's a notable difference if you are in the Word for 4 days a week. Notable difference in yourself, from others, the connection, all that, because you just stepped over the line of, more days than not, I'll put it. So that thing, I've aspired to do this and take set that time. I don't have time. Make time. Get up earlier, kick something else out. That is kind of a line in the sand, right? If you're going to attempt to be the solution, not the problem. So, as I'm thinking about this and what we're going to say tonight in this Orwell, just beautiful, I would invite people to read these, listen to them. Like if it's driving and listen to an audiobook, that's how I receive it. Some people are readers and they get more out of it by doing that. And see what happens, see what comes out. Now, as I started thinking about this, I was like, well, what are the things that we've been doing that voluntarily leaving comfort? Like comfortable, stay home with your friggin' sleep number bed and your duvet cover and just like sit there and just whoopee in like you're a sick 8-year-old on a skipping school. That's the easy thing, is do nothing, right? Don't leave your comfort zone. And I see there's a natural inclination to my children to do the same thing, because why wouldn't you? Yeah. It's like if you want to be miserable and sleep on the ground, or you want to be in this big old fluffy thing, of course, right? But there are little things to do. So when I looked at the things we do, BDRs, right? BDRs are uncomfortable, and they're awesome because of it. You know what I mean? You're out there, and we've had people get hurt, and we've had people get injured. There's a difference, hurt and injured. Injured involves the hospital, right? And we've had both, but kind of made it awesome. I don't know why I was talking about this today. Who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody about these and how powerful they are, in that one of the guys was a better rider than kind of most of us. You got really skilled riders, and they get a little bit, I'll say, perturbed because we've got newer riders, but this isn't for everybody thing. So you can go faster if you want, but brother, we're not breaking. We're going to hang with these guys, and if we're messing up your ride, then just go bigger. But that's not what this is, man. This ain't a race, and there are skilled riders. Why don't you go ride with them? And it wasn't to that. It was just you could tell that the guy was getting a little bit annoyed, right? I like the guy. He's a great guy. But he was new, friend of a friend, all this other stuff. So we go out there, and then he makes an honest mistake where he goes into a gully, and what you do is kick it down, get the front end up, hit the gas, get the front end up, and the bike will eat some of that stuff. Like the Christian, nom, 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 he's gonna like whatever, get it up there. Well, he kicked it into neutral.
Oh.
So at the bottom of the gully, when you need the front end to come up, it spiked him into the earth. Yeah. And they don't call it the soft place to land mountains, they call it the Rocky Mountains, right? So he snaps his collarbone, and now he's walking out at like half a mile an hour, babying this thing with a makeshift sling. And we don't have hiking clothes on, so we're walking out in motorcycle gear, and it's the desert, and it's hot. Then once you get miles down the road, you gotta go get his bike. Now you gotta ride his bike for miles and miles and miles and hours until you get to pavement. Then you get to pavement, you jump on the interstate. And then it's hours at 75 miles an hour on a bike that's not made to go 75 miles an hour. So now you're shaking because everything's for a long time to get it to the truck stop, just so his buddy with the trailer can load up and get him going, right? But a thing happened where he was like, sorry to be holding up your ride. So I'm like, brother, this is what we do. Mm-hmm. And that was cool to say. It was cool to hear. And he honored us by saying, you guys are amazing, man. This was unbelievable because I needed somebody. You guys showed up. And I'm like, brother, this just makes for a better adventure. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate you got hurt. But we've got a group out there. He just saw this thing come together. Perry Saul's palpating, as the doctor's saying. He's checking, he's doing all this stuff. We're rigging up slings. He's now in the car, he's leaning back. They're easing through here. Me and another dude go back and get the bikes. Fun bike, man, it's KTM. And now I'm riding this thing, and it's just a freaking machine, but it's not a highway machine, right? Yeah. And then we get it back, going the opposite direction while the team heads off into the mountains to go find a place for us to sleep, help set up our gear, and then throw a pin. So now it's late. We're the other direction. We're on the road back to find our team to like some spot on the earth, and we do. And that's cool, man. So we've got this guy taken care of. He's heading this way. Our guys have already set up the thing. I think there was food. We get up there, get something to eat, and launch the next day, adjust course a little bit, and we're back in business, right? And that's just awesome. But that didn't happen accidentally. It happens when you leave your comfort zone. It happens when you say, we're going to go out for 9 days that way. We kind of got an idea what we're saying, but we're not sure. Yeah. We're going to walk across Spain, and I'm not sure where we're sleeping, but we'll sleep somewhere. It happens when you go to ITB and say, how about we show kids, we're going to go out and head that direction. We've seen some things on maps and all that stuff, but I don't know what's around the corner. But I do know that we're going to sleep somewhere. I know we got each other, we got some provisions, and we're going to end up in 4 days with trailers loaded back up, and then let's just make it work. Let's figure it out. 5-gallon challenge, if you don't know what that is. We haven't hit it every year, but we make a point to put it on the calendar every year, and sometimes it gets bumped, and that's okay. But the rules are this. Go to Lowe's, Home Depot.
Get your bucket.
I've got a bone to pick with Home Depot. Go to Lowe's, get the blue one, and that's just a measuring device. So each person gets a bucket. Put your stuff in there, right? There's no room for a sleeping bag, so that's out. There's no room for a backpack, no big whoopee pillow. It's gone, right? I highly recommend some kind of waterproof structure. Whether we've done painter's plastic, and then do strings and stones and make a shelter. I've done bivy sack, if you know what that is. A bivy is basically a waterproof shell, a very light poncho liner, whoopee, right? Something like that, but you're not going to be comfortable. You're not going to die. It's the summer in the Rocky Mountains, or the spring or the fall.
It could be wet.
It could be wet. We've been wet. We've been very wet. Like it's historically, it hasn't been good weather, which makes it better. One of my favorite memories is we were out with the kids, and they were young, and I show them how to build a shelter with painter's plastic, and they're building it, but they want to share. And it's raining, and it's been raining, and it's kind of miserable. So some of the girls, the younger girls, go over to the fire. It was Sarah and then another couple's daughter. They go to the fire, and Rebecca's doing like the lion's share of the work. I'm guessing she built 75, 80% of the shelter. She builds it up, it's raining, all this stuff. She comes over, she's sopping wet, not complaining one time. And then she comes back over. Well, the girls come over and go, "Oh, this looks really good. I pick here, I pick here, I pick here." And Rebecca comes to the fire, and she's like, "Oh, I can't stand. What's the matter? I built that entire thing, and they're over there telling me where I'm going to sleep." And I just looked at her and I go, "Rebecca, you're bigger than them." And she goes, "Yes." And she walked over. You're there. I'm in the dry middle, and that was it. That was a done deal. Becca has spoken, right? So that was super cool. But to get them out of their comfort zone and working and not whining and just get the job done. It's going to be better if you do this, and they're stronger for it, right? Now, we don't do that every weekend. I'm not a drill instructor. We don't do all that stuff, but we have done some things out of our comfort zone appropriately, and even the Spain walk was another thing. Is it enjoyable every day, every second of every day? No, it was work, which made it better, and now they know. Now they know. It's like I could get on a plane and I could plan it and sacrifice for 2 years, save up some money. Other people contribute. Thank you, by the way. Get there and have a moment that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Yeah. But once you do it, you've done it. So they could end up by themselves in Spain, or with each other, me not even included, or with some friends or whatever. The midnight hike. Oh, so that is getting those things in there. The clothes on your person doesn't really count. The bucket measures the things you bring. I highly recommend, and this is a pro tip right here, right? It doesn't take much to sprinkle some what do they call it, jelly beans in the bottom, like in a sandwich bag, right? That doesn't take up any room, and man, you're like a hero. Much, yeah. When you pull them out, you're like a hero. Freeze-dried meal, highly recommend the beef stroganoff, probably peak, or even the Mountain House is good. Getting those in there, there's more healthy ones to do whatever you want. Getting in there, if you've got a stove, that's a sacrifice. It's pretty big, or you can do a fire, whatever, some kind of water container, bivy sack for sleeping, some kind of insulation layer if it's thin. There will be not much else, man.
Does the lid have to fit on?
It's got to be able to go on there because some people don't have lids, but not sticking out 3 feet, So getting it in there and having those things and the pack. So if you're gonna have I got a really, really thin backpack. That's pretty much straps in a sack, but it'll bear weight. It was an issued thing from the agency. And even the bag has to go in there. So your luxury stuff's kind of staying, and then water. Like all that stuff that's not on your person, your jacket you can wear and all that, but everything else goes in there. And some people, I remember Jake went out there and he just kind of laid there all night, and it was cold, but that had more room for his kids. And other times when they were like up there, like, hey, one of the cool things is when we get to the trailhead, all the kids and the families dump out their stuff and explain what they brought and why. Why a headlamp? Why a this? Why a that? And you reduce it. It's not quite minimalist. Those dudes go out with this, but we also got a bunch of kids. Yeah. But it just goes out there, makes them think, and then they get the gear together and they go out and have just a great time. It's only one night, and then they interact, and they're not on their phones, and they're hiking, and it's physical, and they help each other, and they whatever. And then they leave it like they found it. So there's so many lessons in that, and it's super, super good. Another thing that has become very popular with this organization, cost next to nothing, is to shake out our gear. Not the guns. We're not walking around suburbia with our ARs out, but the kit, the bags, the boots, the socks, all of that stuff should be right. Mm-hmm. So I just had to update my boots. By the way, those boots, those ones I talked about, the Irish stairs, $100, man, they're on sale right now. Because they're out phasing the old ones and bringing in a new model, completely different look. But I just returned them to get it upsized, and they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, they're $100 off." And I'm like, "Cool!" So I got a credit or whatever they did. I forget, back to my card, and still got the 8 and 10 halves. So, anyways, having good boots, having good socks is essential. Like I said, if things go sideways at any given day and you don't have good boots, your foam shoes are going to dissolve in about 3 days, and you're going to be running, on your Bilbo Baggins feet trying to fight the World War III. I wouldn't do that. So getting all that stuff is one thing, and then going out, we start at midnight.
Yep.
We do a little video, start walking, right? About halfway through, 2 hours in, 5 miles in, something like that, we go into the woods, pre-designated spot. This is in suburbia, by the way. There's a spot with a bunch of trees. We go in there and we rack out for about 2 hours. Really, so I can just wake you back up. Like everybody's just kind of like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to sleep. And it's like, right? Yeah. And then I chirp a whistle. Chick, chick. Every head pop up like meerkats. You barely see them, it's all dark. You pack up your stuff, which is miserable, waking back up and getting back to it. So you gotta push through that. And then we walk as the sun comes up and we finish at breakfast. And we walk in that place at breakfast, they're looking like, what hole did you crawl out of? You're like, that one, you're a couple miles back. But it's super cool because something happens, man. It's everything's off. You're like, you're not even supposed to be awake right now, right? But all of a sudden you're out of your comfort zone and it just glues people together and it costs this much money. It's like, it costs you breakfast, right? That's it. And it's super, super cool. And then usually people just like, they grab some coffee, then they go off and crash for a little bit. But it's awesome. Like that adventure, that energy that we talk about that we share quite a bit. So that's a big deal. And then the latest one, this was put on my heart and I hope it's not because we need it. And did you see the Battle Ready in 5?
No.
So on Patreon, so check us out on Patreon. That's a big, big deal. There's a free account. And I know people are like, well, it's always asking me for money. Don't pay it, man. There's paid stuff. And a lot of my peers use this to pay for their marketing, right? So the more money we make and we can put into marketing, the better the marketing's gonna be, the more stuff like this we can do. So it's in its infancy. It's not making a touch of money. It's losing money actually, but maybe. We create it and then something happens and we get a big break, Sean Ryan, something like that. Now people know where to go because it's already built. Yeah. So that's the game plan anyways. But the free side of it is so that this entire community can be in the know. There's many things coming up right now, and if you don't know, it's because you didn't look. It costs you nothing to just go on. It does help if we have more followers, but if you're there, and you would know about, not this weekend, but next weekend, the mix is coming back. You know, Ian Escalante from RMGO is going to be the guest speaker because we got some horrible laws coming up. Earlier that morning, there's a pancake breakfast where we're launching men and women in these attempts to save babies into roles to support this mobile ultrasound unit. There's all this stuff going on behind the scenes and you're not going to know about it. Or, I don't like Facebook. I don't like the newsletter. I don't like, then sit home cross-legged in the floor. Just sit this one out, man. I don't tell you. So get on there, check it out. Battle Ready in 5 was put on my heart because it was like, I'm laying in bed, I'm thinking about this. I said, I'm gonna challenge the people with this. So I get up, everybody's at school, I get up, hug my kids, do all this stuff, and they're off to school, but I'm like, I'm doing it. So I get down into my, like I wear board shorts and a shirt, I cut the sleeves off because you know when you roll over and it's like pinching you? Yeah. So Murph one year, the shirts were off. I pulled it on, it's like, it tore the sleeves, so I just cut them off. Anyways, whatever you sleep in, you got 5 minutes. And I record this, it's kind of funny. It's stupid actually, it's silly. But it's alarm goes off, says Battle Ready in 5. I jump up and it's going, and I'm running through the house, and you see me grab my jeans, throw them on, run downstairs, unlock my room, pop out my primary bag, my secondary bag. So rifle, chest rig, holster, belt rig, pistol already ready. That whole stuff's already locked up. Take it out of the garage, throw it on the floor. Other bag, my Hefe bag, the big bag, I throw that out. That's just got other stuff I'm gonna talk about. So in 5 minutes, could you be full kit, Able Shepherd kit, ready to walk out the door? Yeah. Now, if your stuff is organized, you will be. It won't be hard. Yeah. If it's not, you got a problem, right? Because I ask people, I'm like, uh-oh, I had my gun, and then I put it over here, but then I took the optic off. I'm like, that ain't good, right? So you'll see me doing this. I'm running through, and including boots. Good boots. Think hunting boots. Think walk across the Rocky Mountain boots, hold up boots. If they're military boots, even better, right? It's like depending on which ones they are. But boots on, I stayed in my jeans. I put on an overshirt that's camouflage. I put on my ball cap, my Able Shepherd ball cap. I've got a chest rig with an AR, 6 rounds, 6 mags plus 1 in the gun, my full duty belt, pistol, one mag in, and then 2 extras, right? That's it. And then you see my garage door open as if I'm gonna walk out, but then I go back real quick after I edit it together. It looks like I'm leaving, but I shut it before my neighbors. My neighbors already know I'm weird. They're like, that's that dude. That's like, he just does this. They all love me, but they're like, yeah, he does this, right? So anyways.
Why don't you?
And then I just challenge people. You don't have to video it, just go do it. Yeah. And if you made it, text back Battle Ready in 5. So I've had people saying, got it, Battle Ready in 5, right? So when here's the gist of it. Able Shepherd isn't just a training program, it's a capability. And the capability needs tools. If you've got the tools and the capability, you can be Battle Ready in 5. It means I call you and say there's something absolutely horrific. There's evil happening right now and people are being harmed. I don't want to hear I got to run to the store. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. I want to hear you're on your way, that you're in your truck and it doesn't go any faster than this. That's what I want to hear, right? So I think it's responsible, especially, like I said, when the world goes crazy, don't go with it. Actually offer a solution. So could you be battle ready in 5? And do you have the gear? And if I said, show me, could you make it work? Could you make it do the thing? And all of a sudden you're like, okay, do you have a gun? Yeah, I got a gun. You any good? I feel like I'm pretty good. It's not a feeling, it's a standard. Show me. And then you can't show me, and I'm like, I disagree. You're not good with that pistol, you're not good with the rifle. Like coming in and accidentally shooting the kid, no. I'd say that's the opposite of good, right? And how many people are walking around looking like that? Okay, so if we're gonna keep this at 20 minutes, I'll wrap up. This is an inside joke. We're always like, Roy just said, how long is it gonna be? We say 20 minutes, and we laugh. Because we say, let's make it 20 minutes, and then it's an hour or 2 hours or whatever.
20 minutes, volume 1.
Right, so I'm going to finish with this. I've got this is Meditations on Manhood. Charles Spurgeon. If you don't know who that is, you're wrong. Look it up. 100 devotions from Spurgeon, from Charles Spurgeon. Meditations on Manhood. Sometimes they're just good. Many days they're phenomenal, and it's man talk, warrior talk. I'm going to read from this, and then a quick thing that this brought out from the Word of God. Okay, before I get to these. So it's been a while. Thank you, Doug Vanderwood. He's like, hey, man, I've been waiting for your podcast because he follows. He's a great dude, right? So this one's extra long for you. So I've been talking a lot. What say you, man? What about all this?
It is wonderful and not fresh, but refreshing.
Yeah.
I feel like coming out of the holidays in a bit of a, not a fog, but a like, oh, man, I've got to get this car in gear. Got to get the body moving again. It's good to hear so many of these reminders that we've talked about through the years. We've lived in the woods, falling off bikes and falling into rivers and maybe jumping into the ocean.
Jumping to lakes. Oh, ocean, yeah, that's right.
So it brings back great memories. It's like, aha, yeah, let's get back to it. So refreshing.
Summer's right around the corner, man.
Doesn't need to be summer.
Oh, yeah.
Just need to be outside.
I'm going to ask you a question. How do you explain Lineage Ride 2019? How do you explain any of these trips to somebody who wasn't on them? Adventures.
Well, the first thing I would say is, I'm sorry. It was a great adventure. Wish you could have been there.
Yeah.
And being in the background in terms of some of the planning, some of the logistics, the routes, it's stuff I really enjoy. And then I know there's a story about a friend or a buddy of yours that's like, why would I want to go with 30 people? I want to go by myself. I'm the lone ranger.
Yeah, stuck.
And it's like, because when you have 20 or 30 people who are strong and independent in their own right, and you see them come together and gel and bond, for my son, who was probably 17 at the time, to watch the moment in time with Nancy Von Minute on the back of my truck, it's clear as day, just became a man right there. Okay, put that in a bottle. It happens once. It happened right there somewhere, Utah.
Yeah, and that's, even when I see Alex, it's like somehow part of that's back. Even if I'm seeing it with the church, because, I will actually, if he's going to be there in a week, not this Saturday, but next, but it's like, I light up because I remember. Like the second you see people, you remember. You remember how long it was. You remember how tired it was. You remember Steve Klein falling asleep on his bike because Tim snores. You remember all that. You're like, every time you find your new room, some people die, right? It's like you, at some point you need to sleep within 3 days. It's like all of that, and it's the dangerous stuff was even better. You know what I mean? When we had to do the brake checks because we were icing over in Yosemite.
Wyoming, yeah.
Like, this is nasty. Like, I got to keep pumping my brakes because I'm not sure if I'm connecting with the earth. It's like I'm going to end up in my ear and you're leading. So it's like, it's time to pull over, boys. I don't know what's going to happen right now. It's like all of that stuff unlocks this unknown thing. And I remember John Eldridge talking about these seminars where a guy comes up and tells him about a sailing. Even sailing's been back on my mind. I was talking to my buddy Grant Vanderyacht. He's a sailor, and he was talking about some of the stuff. And I'm like, man, that is speaking to me right now. I don't know what it is about the ocean. It's calling me back. But the guy says he was caught in a storm with seas rolling where you can't see. And it's just like from a nightmare. And he just stopped and he said, best time of my life. This old man, he's like, it's the best time of my life. It unlocks a thing in you where you really got to find, you think about what's going on, who you are, what's going on in this whole plot of all of it, and why am I here, and you feel alive.
Yeah, I just had a flashback, a memory, a warm sensation because we got into somewhere Washington, and you said, SeaTac Airport, Rachel, and Eden. Baby Eden.
Oh,
like
baby.
2
She was
weeks
a baby.
old
Yeah.
for Father's Day. And that picture of you opening the back door of my truck and your face is, how do you describe that?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
moment in time.
Yeah.
And it's immediately followed by Neil Pinkham surfing on one of the luggage racks into the Hampton Inn with a cooler of beers.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember Melissa doing the dance with Steve. I don't know what they're doing. They're just dancing because why not dance, right? Because you're free. And American free on the earth, and you can dance, so why wouldn't you? You know, if you can dance as you what was it? We've said this on one of the podcasts. It's like if you have legs, is it your duty to run? Yeah, I think so, right? Because some people don't. That's a big deal. So I think that, I believe that even I remember guys launching to go pick up my wife and daughter at the airport, and it was like this honor of like, that's Jimmy's wife and daughter. Mm-hmm. They will get here safe. It's like, hey man, right on. Like, thanks for the ride, and it's I need you, and it's good to be needed, and now I'm needed, and just all that kind of stuff, because there's going to be emergencies. I think we shot out of there. The worst design ever in a fuel tank is probably the BMW 2009, whatever, and it's been on and off and recalled and blah, blah. This is garbage design, whatever, and I ran out of gas on the highway. I don't think we were far into the trip. And Tim came to the rescue with that's why we bring gas cans, right? And you're like, oh, what an idiot. It's like I was doing press the mileage, but then we stopped, and I get really good gas mileage. I don't need to gas up, and it bit me because I forgot to hit the button. And it's like, that's part of the deal, bro. That's the deal. So in this, when we're talking about standing, we're talking about pushing out of your comfort zone, doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because it's easy, not because it's popular, not because somebody threatened you. It's like, no, I'm going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and that's what leaves a legacy. I'm not trying to leave a legacy. I'm trying to do what's right by God. That leaves a legacy, right? So I came across this, and I'm just going to read part of it, but it's called The Consecrated Man from Spurgeon, one of his sermons, on page 85 of this, and I'm going to read the last part. Let men threaten a consecrated man. What does he say? I fear God, and therefore I cannot fear you. If it be right in your sight to obey man rather than God, judge ye. But as for me, I will serve none but God. You may perhaps have seen your life. You may perhaps have seen a consecrated man. Seen in your life a consecrated man. Remember we talked about men still walk the earth. Mm-hmm. I've seen one. May it never be that would be a thing to where it's like, I saw a man. I saw one. It's like, we should all stand tall and act as godly men. We're just not. So now when you see one, it's notable, right? Is he a public character? What cannot he do? He preaches the gospel, and at once 1,000 enemies assail him. They attack him on every side, some for this thing and some for that. His very virtues are distorted into vices, and his slightest faults are magnified into the greatest crimes. He has scarce a friend, but the very ministers of the gospel shun him. He is reckoned to be so strange that everyone must avoid him. What does he do? Within the chamber of his own heart, he holds conference with his God and asks himself this question: am I right? Conscience gives the verdict, yes. And the Spirit bears witness with his spirit that conscience is impartial. Then he says, come fair, come foul. If I am right, neither to the right hand nor the left will I turn. And I've experienced that, and I know other guys have because we talk openly about that. It was like, I'm serving God, not perfectly, but increasingly, but I'm doing it. And now all of a sudden, here comes all the stones, and then you got to get with God. And I probably ask more, I don't know anybody's business, but I ask myself more than most I would believe, or at least quite a lot. Am I wrong? And I really drill down on that. And many times I have been, and many times I haven't. By the times when I've been steadfast and said, this is what's going to happen, I've never had to hang my head in front of anybody. Yeah. Now I know a lot of people that hang their head in front of me, right? And sometimes maybe I should reset and rethink, and I do that plenty. But I think most people do that. I think I'm probably wrong, so I'm going to shut up. And I would be like, that's unfortunate, right? What if you were right? Not right by Jimmy, right by God, right? And I think that is something that needs to come back yesterday. So, and then on this one, and I'm not aiming this at anybody, and I've had people talk to me about, airing stuff out, and I get it. I never want to poke my wife, anybody's wife, but there is a lesson in this. And if I hear somebody talking about you shouldn't have read that, we're going to have words, and I'll hear you out. And because I've prayed about this, and this is, many people now are, we talk about this. This isn't about one particular woman. This is about, I call it Job 2:9, Job 29, and Job 42. Because you've heard me say, I want to be a Job 29 man. In time of prayer, I was like, no, you don't. I don't want to be a Job 29 man. What does that mean? It means Job 29, there's a listing of, I've said this before, and I've had to rethink this and been checked by God on it, I believe. In Job 29, there's a list. And I think it's one of the best lists of a man that you could imagine, right? It's Job lamenting and saying, when me and God were in our when we were good, why am I? He's complaining. Why is this going on? And he has a right to complain, by the way, right? Yeah. So he's lost all 10 of his kids. He's lost everything. He was kind of the richest man, in my words, best man in the world, the richest man in the world with 10 amazing kids, everything gone, right? So then you look and you say, what is a guy like that? God so favors this dude. He just says, Satan, have your way with my guy. Try him out. Try Job. That's my guy, man. That's my guy. So you're like, yeah, that's God's guy. You should pay attention to what it is. Well, Job laments and describes himself. And it's a really good list. I don't know many men. I don't know if I know any men like this, including me, right? But he's talking about himself. He's like, man, back in the day, when I went out to the gates of the city, I took my seat in the square. The young men saw me and hid themselves. The old men arose and stood. The princes stopped talking and put their hands over their mouths. The voices of the nobles was hushed, and their tongues stuck to their palate. For when the ear heard, it called me blessed. Anybody heard his name, like that blessed him. And when the eye saw, it gave witness of me. Because I delivered the poor who cried for help, and the orphan who had no helper. The blessing of the one ready to perish came upon him. I made the widow's heart sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. He just helped everybody. The dude's awesome, man. I was a father to the needy, and I investigated the case which I did not know. This reminded me of Brad Bergford, my brother. What's up, Brad? The dude that takes up a case that's not even his. The lawyer that says, this is none of my business, but it's wrong. It's freaking wrong, and I'm going to stand. And let the rest fall. Like, I'm going to stand for what I believe by the word of God, and it's not even my business. I'm making it my business. So, well, what about the masculine tough guy talk? I broke the jaws of the wicked and snatched the prey from its teeth. That's like man talk, right? I'm jumping to 21. To me, they listened and waited and kept silent for my counsel. After my words, they did not speak again. Like the dude that talks and you're like, I'm not saying peep. Yeah. Dude's right? And my speech dropped on them. And after my words, they did not speak again, and my speech dropped on them. They waited for me as the rain and opened their mouth for as the spring rain. I smiled on them when they did not believe. I smiled on them when they did not believe, and the light of my face they did not cast down. I chose a way for them and sat as chief, RFA, and dwelt as a king among the troops, as one who comforted the mourners. You're like, does it get any better than that, right? And he's down there scraping sores off his body, and you say, that's 29. Well, what about 2:9? So let's go back a little bit, and I think the lowest point had to be right here. And his wife said to him, everybody remembers, just curse God and die. Like, she's done. Now remember, she also lost 10 kids. She also lost everything. She didn't do anything wrong. So she has a right to be bitter. But more than curse God and die, this is the part that people don't remember. And his wife said to him, do you still hold fast to your integrity? Why don't you curse God and die? And I think if you could look back into Job's heart, that's all I got left. Like, it's all I got. Right? My integrity of the word of God is all I got, so you bet I'm clinging to it. And he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speak. Shall we indeed accept good from God and not accept adversity? And all this, Job did not sin with his lips. And that is a man of integrity. And from there, it just gets worse. Yeah. Right? And then he's kind of like, having his pity party that is earned, right? And but he doesn't sin, and he doesn't curse God, and he doesn't blame, but he just wants some answers, man. And I get it, and I've been there. So I don't say be a Job 29 guy anymore. I said fast forward to Job 42, right? Because after he's had his little thing and all that, God shows up, and he's kind of like, brace yourself, my mouthpiece in, because now it's my turn to talk. And to sum it up, he says, I don't remember seeing you when I made the ocean. I don't see me. I don't remember seeing you there when I made the planets. I don't owe you anything, right? I don't need you. But, and he scolds the friends and all this other stuff, and they're like, oh my goodness, because they're telling him, man, you must have made all this money by cheating people, by lying, by being we just didn't know. So good job tricking us, but it's time to get right by God. And he's like, guys, I've done everything the best of my ability. I talk to God all the time. I'm his guy. And then God shows up and he says, he is my guy. What are you saying about him, right? And then he checks him. But then he says in Job 42, the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he prayed for his friends. So he was on the hot seat too. The Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he prayed for his friends, and the Lord increased all that Job had twofold. So the richest dude on the planet just got twice as rich. And then all his brothers and all his sisters and all who had known him before came to him, and they ate bread with him in his house, and they consoled him, comforted him for all his adversities that the Lord had brought on him, and each one gave him one piece of money, and each a ring of gold. The Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. And he had 14,000 sheep, he got camels, female donkeys, all this stuff. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. Got 10 kids in heaven and 10 amazing kids here, right? He named the first, it tells the names on the stuff, land and all the land. In all the land, no women were found so fair as Job's daughters, and their father gave them inheritance among their brothers. After this, Job lived 140 years, and saw his sons and grandsons 4 generations. And Job died an old man and full of days. So, if he got tempted again, I bet he wouldn't even complain.
Nope.
Right? So I've changed. So don't aspire to be a Job 29 man, Job 42 man.
There you go.
And that book resonates. I don't think it's a coincidence that, as I understand it, Jordan Peterson, before he was fighting for his life, he's writing a book on Job.
Oh.
And I can't wait to see what it comes out of that dude, right? And I can't wait to see what God's going to do with him. And I pray, again, I used to jokingly say, he's either the next C.S. Lewis or he's the Antichrist, right? It's okay. And that's horrible to say, but I think God's got a plan for that guy, and I'm praying for that. And I'm praying for his recovery, and I'm praying for what comes out of that dude's head, because he's operating on a different level. Yeah. And if God snatches him like I think he's going to do, he's going to be a wrecking force for good. Yeah. All right, brother, last words.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back, man. It's been a minute. We're going to carve some time out and get these out regularly. Guys, with Patreon, with all the other stuff and things going on, I can't wait to announce if this happens the way I think it's going to happen. We got big news coming regarding Texas and regarding 5 minutes away, a potential home. So be praying for that, please. Even though you don't have all the particulars, we got our sights set on something else, and I'm ready to go. So a couple things got to line up, but God could do it. And I've seen fruit. I haven't seen a red light yet. Meaning we've hit some bumps, we've had some delays, I've seen green lights all the way around, and now we've got some pretty influential people in the industry that agree that we're onto something, and not just the shooting thing. The Christ first place for men to huddle to be healthy spiritually, mentally, and physically, an approvable standard, has got the attention of some pretty amazing people, and then one in.
Awesome.
Bring it home, brother. What do you got?
I'm just full. Just excited to be back. Glad it's a new year. I can't wait to see what is happening.
Let's do it, man.
Let's make it happen.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
All right. Father God, thank you for BK. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for 2026 in this crazy, crazy world. We're not taking the bait. We're not going. We know our marching orders. No matter what happens, I know that you've put on my heart that my job is to take care of one another. From the book of John, love one another. So I just thank you for that. And we look for your strength, courage, and wisdom to keep us humble, to keep us on the right side of right, which means righteous, meaning right by God, not right by Jimmy. So I just pray that you would guide us in that. You would strengthen my brothers who are struggling right now. I know there's plenty of them. I know I'm one of them. And all these fields, man, we just have peaks and valleys. And the valleys are worth it. Right, it's worth going through the valleys to see those peaks, and you put in my heart this song, even if you don't. I'm not given to get, Father God. I'm doing right because it's the right thing to do. To the best of my ability, I know it's not perfect, but I would say thank you for your encouragement to me and a lot of my friends, and I thank God for amazing communities, amazing mentors, and friends that feel like family. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Love you guys. God bless each and every one of you, and you. Take care of one another. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for another episode. Please be sure to follow us and support us on all of the social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. All of that starts by visiting ableshepherd.com.